on a weekend where a whole bunch of fast men went out there to run the 100-meter dash, Trayvon Bromell decided to crash the party. Because while Bojanda Walada was running the 100 in Croatia, and then Akani Simbini kept his winning streak going in Rabat at the Diamond League, Trayvon Bromell was not on the starting line for either of those races. Instead, he was down at the Pure Athletics track meet, where he ran the 100 in 9.91 seconds. Wind legal. That's not just a fast time. It's the second fastest on the world leaderboard this year, wind legal. Just 1/100th of a second behind Akani Simbini. But that's not the whole story. Because this is Trayvon Bromell's season opener in the 100-meter dash. That means he's likely gonna go a whole lot faster than that. And if that's true, this is about to be a problem for every other fast sprinter in the world. Allow me to explain. Because Trayvon Bromell is essentially the X factor on the world stage when it comes to the 100-meter dash. If you remember, historically speaking, he is on the short list of the fastest men to run in the post-Usain Bolt era, because when Bolt retired in 2017, from then up until now, nobody has gone faster than 9.76 seconds. The only men who did hit that exact time are Trayvon Bromell, Christian Coleman, and Fred Kerley. That is it. That is the entire list. And the reason why I say Trayvon Bromell had to crash the party is because people forgot about him, at least over the last few years. Most people know that Trayvon Bromell went through injuries from the 2016 Olympics all the way up to the 2021 games. So I'm not going to really deal with the history between that part, but I'm going to recap what the world would have looked like if the injury that Trayvon has been dealing with didn't happen. Just consider that at the end of the 2021 season, Trayvon Bromell goes out there and runs 9.76 seconds, the time that I just reminded you about. But in 2022, he was essentially the fastest man in the world for the majority of the season. But at the World Championship, he only got the bronze medal. Notice, I said only. Again, Fred Kerley was also in top form that year. And 3 of the 4 fastest men in the world for that entire year were the same 3 men who went 1, 2, 3 at the World Championships. And Trayvon Bromell was one of them. So that's 2022. But then there's 2023. Because the injury that Trayvon was dealing with flared up again. So in 2023, he struggled to get on the track. I mean, it just is what it is. And he showed up to the USA Championship anyway, running through injuries. When you consider that because of that fact, like, he ran pretty well in the semifinal, pushing through all of it. But then you get to the final, where Trayvon Bromell gets 5th in that race. But most people forget, it wasn't Noah Lyles and it wasn't Christian Coleman who actually won that championship. It was Cravon Charleston. Of all people, he is the one who won the USA Championship in the 100 for 2023. Noah Lyles was 3rd. If Trayvon Bromell was anything close to healthy, because his season shut down immediately after that USA Championship, but if he was anything close to healthy, I'm going to go out on a limb here and say he would have made that team. That means Noah Lyles would not have. The world would look so different right now for this reason. Noah Lyles never would have even showed up to the World Championships in 2023, at least not in the 100. So that World Championship that he actually gets never would have happened, because there's a big difference between winning a gold medal at the Worlds and not even showing up in the event to begin with. But if you're new here, I want to say thank you for even making it this far into the video. And I'm Coach Rob, and if you really want to know what's going on with the fastest athletes in the world, then you are in the right place. And if anything that I say actually connects with you, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe. But if I don't, just let me know in the comment section, because I try to read them all. If you move on from that, in 2024, Trayvon Bromell really didn't run at all. I mean, a little bit, but it was a struggle throughout the entire season. So we just saw an entire Olympic cycle, specifically an Olympic year, where Trayvon was not a factor. So when we go over to the games again, and we send Fred Kerley, Noah Lyles, and Kenny Bednarik, Trayvon Bromell was not there to mix it up with them. You have to understand, Trayvon Bromell is an X factor because he's not in the gap zone of the athletes who can't run fast. For the men of Team USA right now in the short sprints, we basically have the Avengers and then everybody else. No shade, just being honest. The Avengers are the men who have world championship medals and or gold medals specifically at the world and Olympic stage. In the 100 and the 200, that's who the Avengers are. Trayvon Bromell is, I guess, by that definition, like a fringe Avenger, because he doesn't have a silver medal, he doesn't have a gold medal. And when I say Avengers, you kind of have to have one of those two. He has a bronze medal outdoors at the Worlds in the 100. But he had the talent to run with the Avengers. Everybody else who's been going to the trials, like 2024, 2022, 2023, like if you look at the field we've been sending out and who's actually been getting medals on the world stage, if you're in the other column, you have yet to prove that you can do it on the clock or getting a medal. Trayvon is not in that category. That's why him being injured is a very big deal. But that's apparently over now. Because when you go 9.91 seconds, essentially in a race that nobody was paying attention to, and to clarify, if you think that race was just a one-off and the clock is a little spotty, I'm going to fill you in on who was in the race. Eloy Benitez, which is a name you might not remember. Like, you might not recall it, but I do, because he was at the World Indoor Championships this year. And he didn't just make the final. He was actually one of the favorites, if you were actually looking at the rounds, to win the whole thing. He just happened to get hurt in the final. He never actually finished through the line. But regardless, he is a Puerto Rican national record holder in the 100 for a reason. He actually did that at the Tom Jones Memorial earlier this year outdoors. I believe he ran like about 10 flat, something like that, in order to do it. So when Trayvon wins this race, this pure athletics race, it wasn't like he was running with nobodies. His 2025 season has actually been pretty rocky up until now. He was supposed to run the indoor season all the way through to World Indoor. He ran at New Balance and he ran at Melrose. And he didn't win either of those races and really didn't look like himself. I actually said it on the Finish Line podcast that Trayvon Bromell might be out there, but he ain't running Trayvon Bromell times. But I also said this part. You will know when Trayvon Bromell is back because the clock will remind you. And that day has officially come. So from then till now, Trayvon Bromell outdoors has primarily been running 200s. That's why this season opener in the 100 is a big deal. I was paying attention for a while. I wanted to see what was going to happen. But that clock alone has announced himself to the world. And now everybody else is going to have to deal with the fact that if Trayvon Bromell is back, getting on Team USA, even in a year where Noah Lyles has a wild card to the World Championships, just got a whole lot harder. Because we already had the Avengers who he had to go through. Fred Curley, Kenny Bednarik, Christian Coleman, these guys are the Avengers, the ones who've had medals on the world stage in the past. And generally speaking, nobody beats them when they show up to USA's. But now you gotta throw Trayvon Bromell in that mix. So if you are in the other category, and by others I mean anybody whose name I didn't just say, when it comes to the 100, good luck out there. You're gonna have to go incredibly fast if you really want to make the team. Because if Trayvon Bromell is healthy and running like himself, history has already taught us that nobody in this era, believe it or not, is actually faster than him on the clock. In the sport of track and field, confidence is everything. Because when you win, that is just the moment when everybody else finds out what you already knew to be true. That fast is a lifestyle. Get your Fast is a Lifestyle track and field gear at scarecruiting.com/shop or use the link in the description below. It's a huge support to me and this channel so I can continue to make you more content like this. And remember, it is always greatly appreciated if you would please like and subscribe.